Bug Labs is a New York City-based software company that focuses on building tools, platforms for entrepreneurs and organizations who are trying to build applications for the Internet of Things markets, sometimes called M2M. We have tools that allow you to build or connect devices, any kind of device, to the internet and then write applications for it. In 2006, we got started in an area called open source hardware. And at the time, it was brand new. There's a couple of other companies that got started around the time we did, which was Arduino, Chumby on the West Coast, and then there's a company in Taiwan called OpenMoko. But at the time, the idea was to bring to the world of hardware what had been so successful in the world of software, which is the idea of open source IP. But as it turns out, hardware is a lot different than software. I know it sounds obvious, but at the time we were thinking, there are some similarities. But, the difference between dealing with bits versus atoms is pretty complicated. And so hardware, open source hardware has a few more challenges. One of the things that we thought was going to happen early on was that we were going to find sort of a Red Hat type revenue model around open source hardware. That never materialized. I'm not sure it will ever materialize, just because hardware is so much different. But Bug Labs has evolved from that point now, and we do a lot of work with hardware. We do design hardware, but we don't offer for sale our own hardware anymore. So Swarm, it's funny. It's a take on obviously the bug concept, but it also came from what we're seeing customers doing, which was they were taking not just one device, but like whole collections of devices, putting them on the internet and wanting to manage those. So it wasn't like one vending machine; it was 10,000 vending machines, and those 10,000 vending machines were also put together into groups. So you'd have a New York moment. You'd have like the machines in the Northeast, you'd have the machines in the Southeast, and so on. So Swarm is a way for making devices, connected devices, look like a web API, and Swarm allows them to manage those devices and those connections efficiently. So Dweet, obviously the name comes from Twitter. And we actually call it Twitter for devices. It's a way for you to very easily and simply connect devices to the internet using a method which doesn't require any registration, no sign-ups, there's no pricing plan. It's just have a device, go to the website, it'll actually automatically give you a unique identifier, and then the device can immediately start sharing its data. What we typically use for demos is smartphones because they publish data very easily through a browser. But literally any device, it could be an Arduino, it could be an air conditioner, whatever, can literally make a call to Dweet and get a unique identifier and start publishing information. And the reason we came up with it is because even today, getting things on the internet, I don't mean phones, but I mean things, is complicated. It's way more complicated than it should be. And for us, again, in response to our customers, we found that they're just looking for a much easier way to get devices online and publishing data. In many ways, Dweet for us is like Dropbox was for cloud storage. Dropbox did not invent cloud storage, but they made it really, really easy. We're not inventing any new technology here. We're just making it very simple and understandable as to how you can get a device online and publishing data. Then the trick becomes, what do you do with the data? And there's all kinds of answers to that. We have some new products that we're coming out with that will help build applications with the data, write interfaces for the data, which we're excited about. But there are lots of other things you can do. You can do data analytics. You can store it for other systems like CRM and ERP. But Dweet for us was kind of like Swarm Lite. It was a very easy to understand entry point to a messaging system like Swarm. Technically, all those platforms, we're all using the same technology. The technology's been around for 10 years. I think what makes us a little bit different is that we are focused almost exclusively on ease of use. Our tools, I think, are by far the easiest to use. They're very easy to get up and running and understand how to use them, and the documentation's great. And so, going like Dropbox or even companies like Evernote, our focus is on customer experience and having the tools and the support to make the whole system work together simply. And because our feeling is that if you can get that done, it gives you the invitation to take that experience and grow it, right? The opposite is to go and try to sell gigantic enterprise deals, which we do, but they're not, there's not a huge number of those lying around. So making it simple for everybody to sort of get into an on-ramp for no cost, very little friction, we think is the right approach. Some of our big customers are Verizon, Ford, Comcast, and we're doing a lot of work now with some of the biggest consumer packaged goods companies that everyone's heard of, but we'll be announcing that shortly. Most of our customers are Fortune 500, big companies who are doing lots of different things with connected devices in and above just like phones and tablets. So, there's a lot of hype in the market today, but our hope is that by making it easy for organizations to try out, take first steps, do proofs of concept, for very little cost, we'll begin to see a much bigger collection of organizations jumping into the pool and using this technology to do interesting things.